Welcome one and all to Umami Manga. I'm one of your hosts, Petter, and with me I've got my co-host, James.
Oh, hey!
And today we're talking about Volume 6 of Kaguya-sama Love is War. We're gonna get through each of the characters one by one in this discussion, and then we're gonna talk about the comedy aspects in this volume, and finally the romance. So, as usual, I guess, let's start with Kaguya Shinomiya. I don't think I took as much notes for her this time as I did for Volume 5, which is probably understandable since she was very much the MVP of Volume 5.
For sure.
But I still took quite a decent amount of notes for her.
Actually, I took a lot, but I don't know.
Nice.
I may not say them all. We'll see. We'll find out.
Hey, I mean, if it feels if it feels good to mention them, and I mean, maybe some parts belong more in comedy or romance. I don't know, but do what you feel is right.
Thank you.
We got to know that she has never actually bought her own clothes before, which makes sense, perfect sense based on her circumstances. But I thought that was an interesting detail to get on her.
Bring up.
Yeah. So presumably Hayasaka has bought all of her clothes for her,
Right.
or someone else, but Hayasaka mostly.
Yeah. I mean, one, it shows how sheltered she is and how everyone does things for her,
Mm-hmm.
but also shows that maybe when it comes to fashion, she's not as in tune, I guess you could say, as say Hayasaka is. I mean, we've kind of already established that before, but maybe this emphasize that again, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, and like every time we've seen her outside of her school uniform, those clothes, like she didn't choose those.
Clearly. No, I
Like,
see.
no, but it's interesting. It's like I wonder what kind of clothes would she wear if she actually got to choose them entirely by herself.
Oh,
I don't
I
know.
don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah, but yeah, in that same chapter, Kaguya got closer to Kei in that chapter, which was very nice to see.
Yeah.
Even to the point where Kaguya calls Kei, like Kei makes it so that Kaguya starts calling her by only her given name, which is the first time Kaguya ever does that to anybody. So even though, I mean, sure, they're not like close, but I think for Kaguya to refer to Kei in that way, I think that makes it, at least that the Kaguya feels that they are very, very close. And it, it is, they're not distant, obviously, but they both have some sort of fascination for the other, and interest, that like they seem to like each other as people.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a really sweet little thing, I thought.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if their relationship, friendship goes any further.
Mm-hmm.
For me, Kaguya had a really strong moment in chapter 53. That was basically her. It was her the entire chapter for the most part, where she had this inner conflict with herself,
Yes.
and it's between her dumb side and the in love side, and the how she was raised side. Her dumb side and cold side personified.
Yeah.
It's interesting to hear both of the arguments that's going on in her head,
Definitely.
and you can just see how much the Shinomiya way has affected her way of thinking. Even though the Ice Princess side is still kind of wants Miyuki's body, which I thought was hilarious.
Yes, yeah, dude. I loved how, like, both sides, even though they are complete opposite ends of Kaguya's personality, both sides still desired Miyuki in their own way,
Right.
But regardless of where Kaguya is at mentally, she will want Miyuki, and I just think that's, like, it's nice to have that as a constant thing throughout that.
Yeah, totally. And I think with this, you understand even more how hard it is for her to just accept her feelings of love.
Yeah.
The one side that's the dumb side is saying all of these rather, I guess, romantic but in love things. So she wants to hold hands, be with him, see him smile, kiss him, and even more.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to hear all that coming from Kaguya when she had kind of been struggling with that, I guess, revelation, or is still not willing to admit that she likes him in
Yeah.
that way.
Right.
And obviously that's due in part to how she was raised. But anyway.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, that was a really interesting scene, and just how how much that took for her to, in the end, she gives Miyuki
Right.
the fan and the small piece of cake, and then after that she was like so like finished, like it took so much out of her.
Yeah, it's hard on her mentally. It's
Yeah.
I after seeing all those rules that the Shinomiya clan has, yeah, I guess I don't really blame her for being that, lack of a better word, flustered or
Yeah,
exhausted at the end.
for sure.
At that moment, it was a curse you, Shinomiya clan, curse
Yeah.
you.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I feel like that's a lot of the blame to be placed there, but then again, maybe I don't understand the full picture.
I mean, I guess my take on it right now is that, I mean, obviously it is that her situation is very extreme, and
Mm-hmm.
coming from that kind of family, most people obviously don't do that.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, I think it could be viewed as an evil cycle of sorts, because every new generation of Shinomiyas is raised the same way,
Mm.
more or less. So, like, let's just, for example, think about her father, who seems to be a very bad father, and very cold and mean, and you know, based on the little that we've seen, he
Yeah.
seems very bad.
Mm-hmm.
He had, just as strict of a childhood as she did, based on
Right.
what we know. So for him to be that way probably makes sense with that in mind. But I mean, I don't know much about him either.
Fair.
I did think it was funny in this volume how this was the second volume in a row where Kaguya imagines Miyuki saying "how cute." Like we had it last volume for the first time, and then it happened again this volume when she thought about presenting the whole big cake and it looking like a wedding cake, and in her mind she had Miyuki going "how cute" again. So like it feels like the tables have turned somewhat, or just Kaguya is becoming more sensitive, which I think she is, or at least more in touch with her feelings.
Mm-hmm. I agree. We're definitely seeing that as we go along. And funny thing with the last discussion we had, I mentioned that I felt Kaguya was getting dumber in some aspects. Not dumber, but well, maybe that is the right word.
Hmm.
In that, as she was falling, I guess, more in love, she had more of these airheaded, kind of dumb moments,
Yeah.
and then we finally see that dumbness personified. So I guess this may be a
Yeah.
thing that keeps happening as we go forward. I don't know, but
Maybe. Yeah, it's definitely, and it is good to see her being able to be more in tune with that side of her as well. So
mm-hmm.
like, even though, I mean, not saying it's good to be dumb, or I guess maybe it is. I guess to not be that strict all the time is good anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think as we've said in the past, love changes people, and I think this is a good change in a sense. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I don't, she's not dumb in her schoolwork or anything like that. I don't think her
No.
grades are affected in any way. So it's just maybe her sense of judgment when it comes to Miyuki is not quite right.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think that's exactly where she is affected the most. Yeah. My last note on Kaguya was something that I thought was really nice of her. So when she's tutoring you,
Hmm.
which I guess just that in general it was just a nice thing. But in that chapter, when they're studying in the library, there's two girls kind of talking about how it's not good that she's with Miyuki and stuff like that,
Right.
or that it's not good that she's with you. Sorry,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Sometimes you just don't think about what you're saying or what you're hearing. But anyway, yeah. And you kind of explains to her that you know it's bad for her to hang around with him, and people might get the wrong idea or stuff like that. And then Kaguya walks up to those girls and tells them that she doesn't care about what other people think of other people. She will make her own judgment on someone, and she has deemed you to be worth associating with.
Hmm.
And I just thought that was really powerful and really such a beautiful message and such a beautiful side of Kaguya's character.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's also a testament that she has confidence in her ability to judge someone,
Yes.
and the fact that she judges Ishigami as a good guy.
Hmm.
I mean, I think that's Ishigami could um, be proud about that, or have a little more confidence in himself, I guess.
Yeah.
Because clearly there's something there, and we'll talk about that in the Ishigami thing. But I think what Kaguya did for him there was really, yeah, really, really nice.
Yeah, dude, my eyes are watering just talking about this. I don't know. Just a little bit though, but still, it's like,
Well, it's always nice to have a friend stand up for someone.
yeah,
I
absolutely,
mean,
totally.
especially when seems what seems to be a um, very one-sided kind of ordeal with Ishigami. But again, we'll get there when we get there.
Absolutely.
I think one other thing that I took away from this volume is the one with when looking at the stars, uh,
Yeah.
and obviously that's romantic and funny put together. But
Yeah.
what got me thinking was the how she hates the moon because it reminds her of the Princess Kaguya story,
Mm.
and we've talked about earlier how there's connections to that uh, that story, and I've been trying to like find comparisons as we go along. To no avail. I think you've been better at pointing them out than I have. But
Uh-huh.
this time, it's like, aha,
Yeah.
this is obvious. This is blatant.
Yeah.
I can pick that up. Uh,
Nice.
but I like the revelation that she does feel like the character in that story, in that um, she hates the story because it reminds her of her own situation.
Right.
And I wonder if, I mean, obviously it's has something to do with the Shinomiya clan and how she's kind of a doll or something to be looked at and admired, rather than have own control of her life.
Mm.
But I also wonder if it goes back to the theory I had about the arranged marriage thing. Not that that may be something that's on her mind all the time, but maybe she knows that's a thing, that she has no control over her life. Then again, we don't know if that's something that they practice. At least I don't know if that's something that they practice.
Mm.
So I guess just throwing that possibility out there, or at the very least, it's that she can't marry a quote unquote commoner, like Miyuki, and maybe marry is strong. Date. Maybe I should just say date. Um,
Mhm.
and maybe the Shinomiya father wouldn't like Miyuki or something like that, or approve of Miyuki is more
Right.
maybe the right word. So anyway, I think it's interesting to see her empathize. Is that the right word? Empathize with the Kaguya or the Princess Kaguya story.
Yes.
Um, so I'm hoping to see a little bit more of that as we go forward.
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, because it is, you know, it is similar more than just in name. They as you said, they do have a similar kind of situation. So it makes perfect sense for her to to relate there. And it's nice to see her kind of admit to the fact that to the fact that that story or that folktale has affected her in that kind of way. I think it's kind of nice to see that too, because I don't think she would like. I don't know. It doesn't seem like something that would be easy for her to admit to like that weakness, that kind of I hate the moon because this story, you know.
Yeah, probably doesn't come up as much, or she probably avoids talking about that. I imagine.
Yeah. Anything else on Kaguya?
Yeah. I still find Kaguya's treatment of Chika just a little questionable. I mean, look, I get it. It's funny and whatnot, but let's talk about that chapter before the last, where or actually no, I think it is the last chapter.
The very last, yeah, I think, yeah.
Where she's thinking about, oh, what if I were to run and then I can get Miyuki to be the vice president. I'll bring back Ishigami, and then I'll have Kashiwagi be the secretary. It'd be perfect. I was like, what? I mean, okay, look, I Kashiwagi has a fine head on her shoulders, in multiple meetings there, but how could you do Chika dirty like that? I mean, that poor thing, that would break her little heart.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, I feel like Chika was like, she got the short end of the stick a lot in this volume. I felt sorry for her on multiple occasions. That was one. I mean, the one we're talking about right now, and I'm not going to go too much in depth on Chika right now, but since we're talking about it, this bit here, obviously, it's just Kaguya thinking about it, so it didn't actually affect Chika. But there were several situations in this volume where Chika just was not treated fairly or respectfully, like, I wish she would have been.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, more than usual, I feel.
But to Kaguya's credit, she was really just kind of joking. I mean, she wasn't actually going to run or anything like that. But
yeah.
Then again, I wouldn't put it past her to do Chika dirty like that. But
yeah.
Anyway, I think it's just interesting that they're supposed to be these best friends, and yet Kaguya just constantly curses her. I mean, that's literally in the beginning of the volume.
Yes.
Like the first couple of pages, it says, I constantly curses her or whatever. It's like, what?
Right.
What kind of friendship is this?
Yeah,
but
is strange.
Anyway, I think that's all I have on her.
All right, beautiful. I think I'm done with my parts or my stuff on her too. So, Miyuki Sirogane
really loves cats.
Yes.
Really like cats.
Yeah, that was actually really funny.
Like, not only in the first chapter, but the chapter with Hayasaka, or Hayasaka, excuse me, where they were talking. They were talking about like videos she likes to watch. He says cat videos. He's like, oh man, cats are great, or whatever he says. Yeah,
right.
He really has this affinity for cats, and I don't know if that's because he sees the similar qualities in Kaguya, and that's why he likes him, or vice versa, or maybe it's just simultaneously. But it is funny to see his obsession with cats in that way.
Absolutely, and we also see him, based on the first chapter here in this volume, we see him be ever so self-conscious about his eyes.
Yeah, plastic surgery.
Yeah, like, come on, dude. No, don't.
That seems
please.
a bit much.
Yeah. Oh my god. And we also see that he was apparently prepared to help you study as well.
Yeah.
But he stepped back when he saw that Kaguya was already helping him. So I thought that was nice, He had his back just in case he needed it.
He's a really good friend, a good guy, and we saw multiple times of his, good kindness. For example, his family doesn't celebrate birthdays, and yet he put money in his sister's wallet to the chagrin of his sister. But he did it out of the kindness of his heart, and that you really appreciate those small little acts of kindness.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. I also like when he gets the fan, he He's just really happy he got.
Yeah.
I mean that's pretty special to get a fan from your crush.
Yes.
Get a birthday present from your crush.
Uh-huh.
But he's using the fan. He has this really stupid grin on him.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
So
So
cute.
endearing.
Yeah. And what else? He has we learned that he has a fascination for the moon and the stars.
Yeah, I
Like,
did not expect that to
big
be a
time.
thing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, he mentioned the stars. I don't know if it was the first or second volume. He mentioned like going to the
Right.
mountains to view the stars, and I didn't think much of it. I just figured, that was how he was going to impress Kaguya. But apparently, he really does have a love for astronomy.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see.
Really, really nice. And like how he gets like so into it whenever, when he's looking at it, he like so
Yeah.
innocent and just doesn't think. We'll talk a bit about that later, I think, but it was just so so nice. And again, like kind of similar to the previous volume where he just regrets afterward just how he acted.
Yeah.
Was pretty fun to see. Like, again, Miyuki, 2 volumes in a row.
He's like, oh gosh, I'm cringe. I'm so cringe. I like how he keeps studying French. Now he's on advanced French. At least the book that he was studying in that chapter with Ishigami and Kaguya.
Oh yeah.
It was an advanced French book. So I feel like he is progressing in his French knowledge. I mean, I don't know about how he speaks, but at the very least, studying wise, seems like he's making some progress.
Yeah. That was a really nice detail. Really like that.
And it looked like when he was in line in the Hayasaka chapter, I think he was buying a book to take a proficiency test? Like study for a proficiency test? Maybe in French?
Can't remember actually.
I'm not entirely sure. It looked like one of those language
Oh yeah, that book.
books.
I don't know what that book is actually. It's got a CD with it though, so it might be like a language kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's just funny to see. This isn't the first time we see him continue studying French, and I kind of want to see them bring that back in a later chapter and see if he's improved at all.
Yeah. Oh, that would be really
but-
nice.
But I don't know. Maybe it's just like kind of a running gag.
Right. Like he's still trying to make up for the fact that he couldn't speak French the last time.
Right. Yeah.
Was that at the end of volume 2? I think so. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
But yeah, very nice. Anything more on Miyuki?
I mean, he's loyal. His heart is loyal, right?
Yes.
I mean,
yes. Absolutely.
even all the temptations, he he said, "No, thank you. I got someone I love.
Yeah.
Or I already have someone I like."
Yes. Very respectful.
That's all I got.
Very well then. Let's move on to Chika. And so I said already that there were a lot of situations where I felt like she was treated unfairly and just like kind of more so than previous volumes. And it was more like outspoken kind of, because I mean we've seen a lot of like stuff in Kaguya's head. But there was like a little bit more in this one. In the chapter after Miyuki's birthday, she got played by both Kaguya and Miyuki. Like that was basically her role in that chapter. She got so played. I mean, because we've seen her before. She has been so unpredictable, and she hasn't been they haven't been able to control her like that. But in this chapter, she really got played. Like, but both of them used her pretty well against each other, kind of.
Yeah,
it was interesting.
It was interesting, and for me, this volume, she was really dumb. I know she's an airhead, but I had gone through these volumes and I saw these different mischievous and somewhat maybe clever might not be the right word, but I don't know. I feel like she was smarter than people were giving her credit for, and yet she not only was treated dumb, but she kind of made some dumb decisions or dumb moves. I mean, to be fair, she is she is heavy comedy, and she does have these airhead moments. I'm used to that, and I like that about her. But this volume in particular was really, really enforced, I guess you could say.
Uh-huh.
I also think about that chapter, and she gets really flustered about it all. Part of me thinks it's because she doesn't want to be left out. She wanted to be part of the group. She wants to be friends with Miyuki, and not telling her his birthday maybe is damaging to their friendship. So of course she'd be a little bit upset, and she is also someone who is very much invested in romance. Not necessarily herself, but she likes to hear love talk.
Yes.
She like that kind of stuff. So obviously this would be this kind of knowledge of Miyuki liking Kaguya potentially.
Uh-huh.
It would be interesting information for her. But part of me wonders, and this just goes back to what I was saying last year, and I'm not saying that it's fact, or I even put any sort of emphasis on this theory, but I do feel like it should be brought up that is it maybe a bit of disappointment that Miyuki didn't tell her only, or did just not only, but just didn't tell her, not because a friend, but maybe a potential, boy girl thing. Now, again, that's I said this last discussion, but it's not so much that I think that's where it's going, but if that is a plot line, this could be one sign of that, or a possibility. But again, it's just me really theorizing,
right,
as I go. But
yeah, I mean that is interesting, and regardless of whether there's any level of romantic interest there from her side, like regardless of that, I do think it does come as somewhat of a kick in the gut for her, based on because the previous volume, or I mean it's been building up, since the volleyball chapter, she has been having these, very nice, pretty, close knit moments with Miyuki as she's been teaching him various things. And in the previous volume, when she helped him learn how to gut a fish, like he told her then that there are things that he's only comfortable telling her, like that side of him he's only comfortable showing her. And I feel like they got closer there, whatever you want to see it as, they got closer there. And I think, I could imagine her feeling somewhat betrayed there by the fact that everyone except for her knew that it was Miyuki's birthday.
Totally. I no matter how we're supposed to take it, whether there is like any sort of romantic feelings or not. Not saying there is, but no matter how you're supposed to take it, I think it's clear that it hurt her that she didn't, or that she was the only one that didn't know. And she felt bad. I think she also felt embarrassed because she was accusing both of them of liking each other. I guess that would be kind of embarrassing as well.
Yeah.
But I do think, there was a bit of, I guess you brought up betrayal. I think that's a good way to put it.
Right.
I also didn't like how Ishigami totally rubbed it in her face.
Yeah.
I mean, not in the, he was like, nah, not like that, but he kept, bludgeoning her with logic, as she says later on. It's like he didn't have to do her like that, man.
He didn't.
I mean,
but of course he would.
True. It's on point.
It really is. But I felt so sorry for her, and again, I felt sorry for her when, in the chapter where she had, she and her board game friends had made this game. And immediately, without even knowing anything about the game, both Miyuki and Kaguya just shot it down immediately. Like, nope, if you made that game, we're not interested. Like, that's so mean. So mean.
Yeah, it is. I mean, on one hand, I understand where they're coming from because so many things have been chaotic with her. And, who knows what could have happened with this game. I mean, we do see what happens, but Uh,
Yeah.
I understand, but at the same time, like, come on, are you supposed to be friends?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
can't you treat her a little bit better there? But as we see, maybe they were justified in wanting to avoid doing the game.
Yeah,
Uh,
like that's the thing. They ultimately were right in the fact that yeah, it was a pretty poor, like overall a pretty poorly designed game. But to I don't know, to not even give it a chance, I thought, or to at least
yeah,
initially not wanting to give it a chance, I thought was I didn't like that very much.
it was pretty cold. Yeah, it was pretty cold.
Yeah, even from Miyuki, you know,
Yeah.
because he usually like goes a little extra to to be kind to people, but in that moment, nope.
Yeah, not that moment.
Yeah.
Um, I find it interesting that despite the fact she's in the game club or the board game club,
Mm.
I guess she is is not very good at making games, or at the very least, she's the weakest link within the group.
Seems maybe like it, yeah.
I I don't know. I thought that she would be pretty good at coming up with game concepts, or at least be a little more competent than the chapter made her out to be. Maybe I
Yeah.
misjudged the whole situation.
Nah,
I don't know.
it seems like she was responsible for the card, the like what was on the cards, I think. Like all those
The
little
events.
yeah, the events. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like the events on the cards. And that was really where the game was the worst designed, I'd have to say.
Well,
Because
right.
there were some other really cool ideas, like
Mm-hmm.
you remove the card after you stepped on it to make sure that people stay closer together, kind of on the board, and
Mm-hmm.
little things like that. But those ideas came from someone else on the
Well,
board game club.
exactly. So she was basically the only one coming up with these not great ideas,
Yeah,
and I don't know. I guess that's just part of her character.
but
Is
she
that
has fun. She enjoys playing these games, and
that's
she
true.
does it for fun and not really any other reason. And I respect her for that. You
Mm-hmm.
know, just
Yeah.
follow your heart and do whatever makes you happy.
Right. And she was pretty proud of what she did.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah, just that alone is it's just nice to see that. And I liked how in the like the three board game club members have like little silly nicknames for each
Oh
other.
yeah,
That was really nice as well. I thought.
that was really cute.
I wonder what their actual names are, like those two other girls, because those were
I don't know.
definitely made up names
Yeah,
that we saw
yeah,
there.
for sure.
But like probably based somewhat on their real names, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
maybe we'll maybe we'll get to know them eventually. I don't know.
That'd be fun.
Definitely, and they were cute too.
Yeah,
But anyway.
I find it interesting how there wasn't any teach Miyuki something this volume. I think
Oh yeah.
ever since volume 2 there's been a teach Miyuki moment,
Has there been
but not this
four?
volume.
If there was one in two, then and in five, and
Yeah,
has there been four of those chapters?
pretty sure, or maybe there was only 3.
I feel like there's been
I could have sworn there was 4. So we had the volleyball, the
this,
singing.
yeah, and the fish gutting. Has there been any
Oh,
other than I thought
I
it was
thought
just
there was one. I thought there was one more. Maybe I'm crazy.
or I mean maybe we are missing something. Um, but I thought there were only those three, but I
Yeah,
could absolutely
I
be
think
wrong.
I'm wrong. I think it was just those 3. So never mind. But still, it's
Yeah.
a it's we haven't gone back to that yet.
I'm personally pretty happy that that they don't do one every volume.
Yeah, it'd be overrun,
Yeah.
or the joke
This
would get old.
this was also the first volume where we didn't have Kashiwagi or her boyfriend visit the student council, or like in that kind of like to seek advice kind of way.
Hmm,
Because they like either of them have always done that in the volume so far before this one.
that's true.
Kashiwagi was at the student council this volume, but not for that kind of thing. And interestingly enough, even though she and her boyfriend and the other girl are on the cover, Kashiwagi's boyfriend did, unless I'm mistaken, he did not appear at all actually inside of the volume,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the first time because he's appeared in every volume so far.
That's true.
But anyway.
He just doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, again, he does not matter. Oh boy, he's a loser. But yeah, my last thing on Chika that actually, well, it's a little bit about everyone, but I feel like I wanted to bring it up here because it's mostly related to Chika. Is that in the second to last chapter, after they have cleaned up the student council and they've been reminiscing about all these things they've been doing, just really sweet moment, and
Yeah.
then you walk out and you see these few like silent panels of Chika just looking kind of somber, and then you flip the page and she starts crying. and it's likely because she started crying that Kaguya started crying too, and maybe Yu starts crying as well. We can't see his eyes, but I imagine it's possible that he also started crying there because he's a very sensitive kind of guy. And
Yeah.
and Miyuki just thanks everyone for their time in the council together, and that scene teared me up. Like, that was so beautiful.
It was
like,
a touching moment.
Very, very touching. Like, especially since we had, like, right in that, just earlier in the same chapter, we got to kind of relive many of those, like, funny little scenes and moments throughout the volumes so far. And just, yeah, this is the end of that student council. Well, actually, I'm curious, what do you think? Have you thought on, like, what's gonna happen there now? Or do you want to talk about that later?
Let's talk about that later, actually, if we
Right.
can put that question for later. But I have thought about it. What I did want to comment, though, was on exactly that. I also wrote about Chika's emotions here. And yeah, she's, sentimental and very much a someone who would be, upset about them being their last time and sad about that. I also wonder if this goes back to her insecurities about making friends and having friends and whatnot. And if this is just one more, the student council members, where it was just a friend group that she could rely on, but now that they are separated, maybe she doesn't have that friend group anymore, and maybe her friends are now a little slimmer. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I could see that being a reason
Yeah,
for her to be sad.
definitely. Absolutely. Hey, at least she and Miyuki are in the same class, though. So she.
That's true.
But yeah,
Wait,
no,
no,
I
wait.
definitely.
She and Miyuki are in the same class, or is it her?
Yeah,
And...
she
Oh,
Chika and Miyuki are in the same class, and then Kashiwagi and Kaguya are in the same class. I think also Kashiwagi's boyfriend.
okay.
Those
That's
three
right.
are in the same class.
That's right.
But yeah. Do you want to move on to Yu Ishigami?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Kaguya was like in the chapter after Miyuki's birthday. Kaguya was very pleased with the help that you unintentionally gave her, because she was kind of losing that battle right there until he came in and was like, oh, of course, I knew it was his birthday as well, and she was very happy for him, or happy for that.
Yeah.
And so she wanted
Grateful.
to repay him. Yeah, grateful. She wanted to repay him, and so she wants to help him study. And I don't know. First of all, that was just very comedic.
Oh yeah,
you know.
hilarious.
But
Of course, he's gonna be afraid for his life.
yeah, of
Tied
course.
up with duct tape over his mouth. Like, of course.
And everything he fears the most is like the things that she like gives him, like the little fish and studying.
Oh.
But yeah, we talked about it before. Those two shared a nice moment there, especially the library scene was really nice, and we got
Right.
we got to understand kind of that you not only do people distance themselves from him for some reason that we don't know yet, but he also distanced himself from other people as well, because he doesn't want like people to think that like the people that he is associating with are weird because they're associating with him, like, so it's like just overall bad in that way.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely rumors about him, probably among his peers,
Right.
That yeah is probably why he has some social issues.
Mm.
And I look at that one panel where he says, "You must have heard about all the dorky things I did in junior high." There's this one girl who's pointing at him and is much more detailed than everybody else. Like everyone doesn't even have eyes except for
Yes.
her.
Uh-huh.
So it makes me wonder if there's some sort of not importance, but if that character will come back in a flashback or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but
That's a
whatever.
good observation.
What? Oh, okay. But whatever happened here, if that is the moment, clearly it caused rumors to spread about him, and I guess it just has some sort of effect on his social life. So you really feel bad for him, and I think this chapter does a good job of planting these little
Mm.
what's the word, like plot points or future possibilities for more backstory.
Definitely.
So I like that.
Absolutely. Really, like, really important stuff is being prepared here, I think.
Teased.
Yeah, teased.
Prepared, yeah.
Yeah, just in general, yeah. So maybe, hopefully, soon.
I mean, this was part one. The chapter's called
yes.
"Yu Ishigami Closes His Eyes," part one.
Exactly.
So I imagine we'll get a part two eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But which is why I was thinking, okay, what in here is gonna constitute a part two? And so I
Right.
was like, okay, probably something like that.
Uh-huh.
I don't understand what "closes his eyes" is supposed to mean. I don't think that's ever hinted at or explained very well in this chapter. So I assume that title will make more sense in whatever happens in part two, unless you feel like you have a reason, or you think you know the reason why it's called "Closes His Eyes."
Well, I had one thought. Basically, early in the chapter, he's told that if he fails another class, he'll have to, repeat the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't seem to take that seriously. It's not until Kaguya
Right.
starts forcing him to study that he actually starts doing anything about it. I don't think if Kaguya hadn't intervened, you would not have really changed his studying methods at all. I think it's pretty
Mm-hmm.
safe to assume. So in that way, he just kind of closed his eyes to that warning that he got.
Okay.
Could be one way, although I'm sure Akasaka has like multiple meanings for it. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure in the second part of this, there's going to be another type of thing to take away from that.
Right.
Kind of like how we did with "I Can't Hear the Fireworks." Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's what I was thinking. It would play out like. But you talking about not you the character, but you,
Oh,
Petter, talking about a potential meaning got me thinking about, well, what if he closes his eyes to all the rumors and
Mm.
people just treating him differently, and so he just kind of closes his eyes to that. Granted, usually it's like ignores or something like that, but maybe there's some sort of
Well, I think that's
thing
yeah.
to it.
I think that could work as well. I'm very excited for you to eventually get to the part where maybe you'll get to see exactly what happened back in junior high and get to know
The dorky
what,
moments.
yeah, like why everything is the way it is today. I'm excited for you to get
Gotcha.
there. Very.
Yeah, that's. I feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
What's up with the secret stairs, and why does he know about that?
Yes. Yeah, that.
I hope that is revealed later on. Why in the world that's a thing, or maybe not why, but maybe they use it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I had the same thought. I think as for like how you knows about it, I could just see that as him being so perceptive that he found that
That's true.
sometime at some point. And but yeah, just the fact that there's like a hidden area there, very interesting, and I really hope that will come into play in the future.
Yeah.
Uh,
It seems like something odd to just bring up. I mean, it's funny, but it seems something odd for Ishigami to point out, and then they just never bring it up again.
Right, exactly.
Maybe Ishigami was using it all those times where he just pops out of nowhere. For example, the part with Kei and Kaguya, he just kind of pops up from behind the couch.
Oh my god.
Maybe he used it there. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know.
He was probably there the whole time anyway.
Right.
He was also pretty funny in the Kaguya Wants to Get Married chapter, the board game chapter.
Yes.
I, granted, he died really quick, and I guess we'll talk about that later, but I think, it was kind of fun to see him just comment on what was happening and, giving his advice to Chika after the end. I don't know, it's just it was nice to see him in that role, kind of in his element.
Absolutely, yeah, that was really nice. Yeah, since he lost early, he could sit there with the rule book and just kind of, be the commentator in a way.
I like how he said, I kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so I thought it was nice. We talked about it before. Like both Miyuki and Kaguya just shot down the idea of playing that game immediately, but you actually, he wanted to give it a shot because he respected the efforts put into creating a game like that. I thought it was nice for him to, to have Chika's back like that. And then obviously he does realize that it was a pretty shitty game, when he died on his first turn. But yeah, he is a really nice guy. Like he and Miyuki are such nice, nice characters for the most part.
I mean, yeah, Ishigami has his overly blunt and too logical moments, but for the most part, I think he's a good guy.
He's so caring or respectful of people's emotions. I think.
Yeah. Respects their hard work too, I think.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and the last thing I have about him written down here is during the cleanup chapter, before they leave the student council chambers for the last time. How he comments on oh, I wasn't there for that. Oh, I wasn't there for that either. Because he was just away for so many things. He missed out on a lot of those nice, funny moments. But yeah, a little bit sad, but also also pretty funny.
Yeah, totally.
Do you have anything more on him?
Nope.
All right, then. Hayasaka, then.
I feel like you could tell her patience is running thin with Kaguya.
Yeah.
With just her love life in general. I mean, you could argue you could see moments of that already, and you could also argue that she's going to help them and support them no matter what. But I do feel like, especially with the cake, she's like, this is ridiculous. Yeah, I think you're dumber than when you were a kid. This is beyond embarrassing. It's I don't know. I feel maybe her temper was a little high this one, but yeah, I mean, I thought it was funny, and I don't blame her.
It was very good, and how she wraps a ribbon around Kaguya and turns her into a present for Miyuki. Now read this.
That was great.
That's such a good Hayasaka moment, classic Hayasaka.
So good.
And apparently she can eat a lot of cake.
Apparently, although I felt a little bit of an inconsistency there, because they had the cake and they ate the whole cake apparently, and then she brings back the same cake to give Ishigami as a reward.
Right.
Which doesn't really make much sense, but
I guess it's possible that Kaguya never removed the cake from the cupboard or wherever she kept it, and that she and I just ate it there in the student council chambers after hours or maybe.
So this wasn't over one day, it was over a few weeks of them eating the cake.
Maybe. I possibly. I guess that would explain it. So Husky is back in this volume.
Yeah.
I was very happy for that.
Do you think she'll keep her accent that she had in the first time she appears with this one?
Right.
I don't know.
I
It didn't.
can't remember. Are you talking anime now?
Well, I mean, I felt like in the first. Oh, maybe I was thinking about the anime.
Yeah,
So
because she does an accent in the anime when Miyuki comes to the house.
right.
I can't actually remember for this because this is part of season 2, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I can't actually remember if she does anything with her accent in this scene in the anime.
Gotcha. I was just thinking about like when I was reading it. Well, it's so interesting. She's a student, and yet she has that accent. I don't know. I mean, I guess people can have accents. Not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Yeah. It was funny to see, how Kaguya kind of dared her or challenged her to make
Yeah.
Miyuki fall for her in one day. And like obviously I never made any such claims that she would be able to do it in a single day, but
Mm-hmm.
Kaguya was just so worked up, and I think Kaguya was really like kind of mad with herself, and she took it
Mm-hmm.
out on I in that moment because she was just like she's been trying for so long and nothing has happened.
Right.
Uh, but I was also teasing her a little bit as well, or pointing out like, oh, you should
Yeah.
have been able to get somewhere by now, Kaguya.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's clear that Ai has confidence in her attractiveness as a woman, or her womanly
Mm.
appeals. I think,
Yeah.
and so to her, she's like, oh yeah, I could probably get him to fall in love with me or whatever. Um,
Hmm.
so maybe that cockiness is what rubbed Kaguya the wrong way.
Yeah.
Um, but I do like this little outburst from Kaguya, and then just her talking with Hayasaka, in that it shows that their relationship is a little more family-like than say friends and even
Right.
servants. But I mean, I understand that she is her personal assistant, but they do have kind of a sister bond going on, and that's snapping at your sister is normal for a family, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
I also found it interesting that Hayasaka kind of lost her cool after it was all said and done. I mean, yeah, she says
Yeah.
I support Miyuki and whatnot, but I think she was a little miffed that she couldn't get Miyuki to fall for her. Now, obviously, she says I never agreed to one day, but I think the
Yeah.
fact that she couldn't do it may be a bruise her pride as a woman, at least to her idea,
Hmm.
maybe a little bit.
Maybe. Maybe.
And it could also just be that she's a tad competitive, potentially. Um,
Maybe. Yeah. Both of those are definitely possibilities. I hadn't considered them. I
one,
think what I thought. Or
mhm.
did you have more? Sorry.
Well, just one other thing I was thinking of is maybe that's the real Hayasaka kind of coming out.
Right. That I do agree with. Uh, my thought as to why she kind of reacted that way after that whole thing was that she exposed kind of her vulnerable side to Miyuki, even though it may not have been completely genuine.
Hmm.
She still, put a lot of effort and maybe some emotion into it. Even though it wasn't like she isn't in love with him, obviously, but
Right.
like for her to expose herself in that kind of way, I think maybe that was and to be turned down on top of that was maybe a bit embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's a lot of ways to interpret that probably.
I think what you said is similar to is kind of having your um, pride bruised a little bit.
Yeah,
Being embarrassed. I think we're on the same page there.
true. That's actually very similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a good Hayasaka chapter.
Hmm.
Anything more on Hayasaka?
She's a liar. No, that's right.
No.
No, just kidding.
But I guess we can move on to the smaller characters. There were a couple.
Hmm.
Um, we had Nagisa Kashiwagi.
I need more. I need more
Yeah,
of. I
yeah.
need more of her.
it's interesting. Like as I pointed out before, like even though on the cover we have her and her boyfriend and the girl who seems to like her boyfriend,
Mm-hmm.
but she was she was only in it for like a very brief part, and he was not in it at all.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I guess the volume covers don't always, I guess,
Indicate.
indicate it like much. Yeah, yeah. I mean, they do to a degree sometimes. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
because the one where we had Chika, the one where we had Hayasaka, and the one where we had Kei, they were all kind of either the debut of the character or like giving the character a little bit extra attention.
And even Volume 5, where it was Miyuki
Oh yeah,
and Kaguya, it was
true.
similar to the middle chapter in there, where the firework chapter. So I think that
Yeah.
usually the cover has something to do with what happens. I almost said Japanese. What happens within the um, context of the volume.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
obviously Kaguya was not Kaguya. Kashiwagi was in the first chapter, and she was basically the straight man, the main character in that. So I guess it makes
true,
sense
true.
in that sense. But again, the Kaguya's boyfriend, not Kaguya, Kashiwagi's boyfriend
Mm.
didn't show up, and the girl in the back was just there.
Yeah.
But that said, I do think this was a really good chapter for Kashiwagi. She was more of a straight man kind of a role, but I liked her
Mm.
her interpretation of what was going on, and
Yeah.
her objectiveness in that sense. It was really entertaining, and especially her facial expressions at times. I guess the reader can relate to her seeing both of these guys, Miyuki and Kaguya, go after each other, and I just like how she just surrenders at the end.
Yeah.
You just both are too cute. I give up. I can't do it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and it was very nice to see her kind of put the pieces together just based
Mm-hmm.
on the previous times when she had been there at the student council talk to Kaguya. She definitely has figured out by now that Kaguya likes Miyuki.
Yeah, for
Like there's
sure.
no doubt there. And yeah, her boyfriend, nothing to say there. The girl who seems to like her boyfriend was happy to be on the cover. So
She's like,
that's
yay. Am I supposed to take that? Is that supposed to be sarcastic, or is she? Is she
oh.
really? Is she really happy? Because the facial expression looks like she's not. I mean, she's not. Doesn't look upset, but is kind of like, oh yay, I'm on the cover, haha.
Like, yeah, the way I saw it is it's kind of like
A little victory kind of a thing.
just like a small little embarrassed victory kind of.
Oh, okay.
Maybe, although I don't know. It's uh but yeah. It's nice to get a clean illustration of her at least in this.
Yeah.
Like it's not like from a far distance where she's like barely visible.
Or her face all scrunched up or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Yeah, yeah.
or hiding
So
behind
yeah.
a wall or something like that.
Yeah, there's been a lot of that kind of stuff. Yeah. Kei Shirogane, I think we can move on to.
Mm-hmm.
She's a lot like her brother. She is,
Exactly.
kind to everybody and generous and a hard worker and Kaguya sees that.
I'm still kind of confused about her feelings. I
Mm,
especially this one even more. It seemed like maybe it seemed like there was some attraction, but
yeah.
maybe it's more just, oh, this is someone I want to be really good friends with, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It is actually I agree. The first time when she was like, well, she gave some kind of hint when she had first met Kaguya that
Mm-hmm.
it was, or the narrator gave some kind of something
Mm-hmm.
about like, ooh, the siblings have a shared interest in women or not, or I don't know, it wasn't that, but it's something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and yeah, this volume definitely like kind of played more on that. And yeah, I mean, I actually don't know either. Maybe she actually does have a romantic kind of curiosity about Kaguya. I don't know. She did see she wanted to hang out with Kaguya, just the two of them next time. She said,
Right.
which I mean, just nice in general, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess we shall see in the future. I doubt K is done yet.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be, oh man, if this story takes that turn where like both of those, like both of the siblings are in love with Kaguya, oh, that would be so complicated.
Yeah, that would be
Oh
complicated.
man. I kind of hope they don't go that way just because it would, like, someone would have to end up sad
Yeah.
in that scenario. And so that's why I kind of hope that's not how it's going to go.
Hmm. I
Uh,
don't know. Yeah, I think I feel the same way. Um, it's not so much that I need, and it's not so much I need Kay to have or any sort of romance,
right.
romantic things, but I think it would do Kaguya nice to have more friends and to get that sort of friendship with Miyuki's little sister. So I do
Yeah.
hope we see that. But I guess if Akasaka wants to go the route of romance, I can see him potentially teasing that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. And, you know, I'm sure it's going to be good regardless.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely interesting to think about. The last thing I had noted down for Kay was just how irritated she is with her brother and like the way he acts at home and
Yeah.
the way he slips money into her wallet on her birthday.
I can't.
Like how dare he?
Yeah. I guess it's some sort of older brother, younger sister thing. I don't know. Like, she's trying to rebel somehow. I don't know. It's.
Mm,
I, I mean, I have a little sister myself, but
mhm.
I don't know if she would tell me to go die. Well, I guess if I did something that she didn't like, maybe.
I mean, I have a little sister as well, and we and not in recent years, but when we were younger, we definitely had a lot of like that kind of stuff, like being annoyed and mad with each other for
Hmm.
just little stupid reasons.
Yeah, I mean, I would have that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's normal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's nice to kind of see that dynamic as well
Yeah.
here. We can move on to briefly to Moeha Fujiwara.
Who is this scary child?
Yes.
Oh, what? She's horrifying. I mean, she doesn't get like too many scary faces like Kaguya. If very little, but some of the things she says is really creepy. Like really. I did
Yeah.
not expect that. Especially after last volume where she's like, "Yeah, let's wait to go shopping." I was like, "Oh, she's kind of sweet.
Yeah, super sweet.
Maybe a little different than her sister, Chika, but still a good girl, and she's still sweet, I guess, but creepy, like out of a horror movie kind of thing. So that does make me
Sort
wonder
of.
because you brought up the question last time, which sister has these videos,
Right.
and before I said, well, I couldn't think it was Moeha because I don't remember all the reasons I may have said, but one of them was there's no way the father would let her have those movies,
Right.
and yet here we are, and she's saying these really disturbing things,
Mm-hmm.
and now I wonder maybe she's into those horror gory videos. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, yes, I think that would make perfect sense.
Maybe it's the older sister and the younger sister are like this, and
Oh.
Chica's just kind of the outlier. I don't know, man.
Who knows? Yeah. Possibly. But she says all these creepy things in this, or well, there's a couple of when she's talking with Kaguya there when they're window shopping and but she is joking, right? Right? Right?
I don't know.
James.
Well, when she says I want to lock her in a dungeon and keep her all to myself, okay, I guess that could be taken as a joke, but it's also
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a weird thing to say.
It is a weird thing to say.
And she's like, I really like you too, Kaguya. I'd be like, run, Kaguya, run.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think for Kaguya to be creeped out by someone like that
Right.
takes a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
And we've already established she has good judgment, or at least she prides herself in her judgment. So
right.
I
Yeah,
mean,
and I do trust her judgment on that.
there was one other moment that kind of got me creeped out about Moeha.
Mm.
Um, when they have a group hug and she kind of entices Kaguya to join in the group hug,
Mm.
uh, she kind of makes a face where I
Ah.
don't know. It's just yeah, she's happy, but it's also like oh yes, my perfect fantasies or something like that. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's kind of creepy.
Yeah, it's like a smirk, kind of like,
Uh huh.
like yeah, I got you now, kind of.
Yeah. It could
Yeah.
also just be her knowing that Kaguya wanted to be part of the group or in the hug or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
or something like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm excited to see more of her.
I am as well.
Very.
I'm scared. I'm scared right now, but I'm excited to see more.
Maybe it's good to be a little bit scared.
I think it adds an interesting dynamic. I'm not usually scared of cute Japanese manga girls. Usually not.
Right.
So this is a fresh experience.
Awesome. Yes. Definitely. And so, the last character I wanted to touch on very briefly, maybe you know who it is. It's the character we see the back of on the very last page of the very last chapter of this volume.
Mm-hmm.
Did you read the summary for the next volume?
I did.
Like in this volume,
Yes.
So you know her name.
Yeah. This is Maki, right?
This is Miko.
Or Miko.
Miko Ino. Is because I wasn't sure if her name was mentioned in this volume at all, but I noticed that it is in the summary for the next one. So I figured, yeah, might as well mention her by name, Miko Ino. We see her back looking at the election notice sign, and then to be continued. So hyped! I'm so hyped for Volume 7. It's crazy, because I love this girl.
That's good. I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see what makes her best girl in a lot of people's minds.
Yeah. She, I think on my anime list, her like she kind of blew up on that. Like so many people added her to their like favorites after season 2 came out of the anime. Like
Wow.
So I mean, because obviously there's more anime watchers than manga readers.
Mm-hmm.
So like yeah, like she just kind of exploded there and like became like one of the most popular characters on the website. At least from what I heard. Of course, not being a hipster or anything, but I had her as a favorite even before the second season.
That makes you a hipster.
Whoops.
Saying not being a hipster makes you a hipster.
Yeah, I would have to agree. If anyone else said that, I would accuse them of being a hipster. So yeah. At least I'm not a hypocrite.
Ah, very good.
So, so yeah, I guess yeah, that's it for the characters. Unless you had anything you wanted to say about Miko Ino, but I guess there isn't much.
No, I mean, again, just excited to see where it goes.
It seems like she is gonna sign up to student council.
Well, maybe we can talk about the future of the student council now.
Yes,
Is
yes.
that a good place?
Yeah, absolutely. We're between segments, so that's good. So, what are your speculations there?
I was wondering how the story would progress if they don't have that student council. But then I was thinking, well, wouldn't it be interesting if the locale just changed, and so they weren't always at the student council room? It's not like they were always at the student council room before, but a lot of the events took place there.
Yeah.
So maybe it'd be interesting if, from now on, the battles take place in different areas and maybe not in one classroom or one student council room or whatever. Um, so being a not always predictable manga so far, I'm thinking that Miyuki is not. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't become student council. Maybe that's blasphemy to say. But so okay, I have two thoughts. Maybe he doesn't become, and then somehow this Miko does. There's that, or this really does hurt me. Or if Miyuki does become, he gives Miko a student council position, but that would mean someone else would have to get kicked out, right? Unless he can make a new position.
Well, I think there can be several. I think there's actually more positions than the four right now. Because I think at the end of one of the previous volumes, I can't remember, it was volume 4 or 5. There's like at the end of it, there's like interviews with basically it's like students at the school get to ask questions about the student council and stuff like that. I don't know if you read those. There was like an extra little thing at the end.
Yeah.
And one of the questions there was like, why are the third year student council members never at the student council chambers or something like that? So apparently there is a few more members that just aren't ever there, or something like that. So
yeah, it confused me because it seemed like they would let the second years take care of the. Because Miyuki is not a second year yet.
He is.
Or sorry, third year is what I meant to say. He's not a third year yet, so he could still act as president as the second year. Then but once he becomes the third year, he couldn't be president.
No, he could. It's just that most third years choose not to because they want to focus more on their studies.
Gotcha. So then maybe that's why the third years aren't in position of class president. Because as far as I understand, I'm pretty sure in most Japanese high schools and high schools in America, the class president is either a junior or a senior, in the second to last or last year of high school. And obviously Miyuki's in the second to last, but it is a little odd to not have a last year be class president. I don't know.
Yeah. So, no, but I do think they make that like point here that the last years they need to focus on so many things like studying and applying for colleges and stuff.
Maybe that means there aren't any positions that are taken by third years then.
No, I think there are, but not like the head, like not the head of the student council, but other positions like that might not require as much time. Maybe they can do their work from home or from elsewhere.
Okay.
Because there definitely seemed to be other council members, based on that part at the end of that previous volume.
I'll have to go back. I'll have to go back and read that because I think I read it differently.
Right, and I mean,
I remember that. I remember that question too. So.
I think I think at least based on what I can remember, there's like a few third years that are also part of the student council, but they're never around, basically. Gotcha. And if that is the case, then there are other student council positions that could be filled up by potentially someone else.
Even in this volume, I think it's Kaguya who said she was like hypothetically thinking of the new student council. She said she would give some positions to first years, I think. And if I selected good first year students for other posts.
Right, so exactly.
I guess you're right. Yeah. There are other posts. I just when I read that, I was like, okay, well, are these posts positions that require you to be in the student council office, or are you not allowed in the student council office? I don't know. It seems like these four were just the only ones ever there, besides Kashiwagi.
Right. But yeah, so yeah, there's the option of getting more characters into the student council, at least characters that are there.
Okay.
So I guess that is a possibility.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Do you have any other speculations on that, or should we move on?
Yeah, we can move on. I won't try to predict it.
It was fun hearing your speculations though. So the comedy of this volume. The first thing I had to say about that was I thought it was really funny to see Kaguya just lose her train of thought over and over again when she saw Miyuki using her fan. And
Yeah.
she was trying to come up with these plans and these schemes,
It's
and
so
just she couldn't think straight. Just seeing him using the fan she gave her.
So good.
Yeah.
Another part that I really liked is the. I'm like debating if I want to put this under romance or comedy.
Yeah.
It's both because the moon part where Miyuki or not he's looking at the stars and she pretends to take an interest in his hobbies, and so he runs with it full speed and
Yeah.
pulls her tight to him or like has her fall down with him as they look up at the sky. I mean, yeah, sure that's romantic, but it's also hilarious because normally he would not do that, and he's unintentionally not realizing how close they are, and so I found it really funny, but also cute. So I couldn't tell which one.
Yeah, I think the funniest part about that for me was the fact that Kaguya was the only one at war, really.
That's true.
In that in that scene, and how she had all these plans how to get Miyuki flustered, but in the end she was the one getting very, very flustered instead.
You see, if Miyuki wasn't overthinking it, he could be in a relationship already, man. It could be a thing, but then it wouldn't be that interesting, huh?
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a good point.
Another chapter that was funny, but also kind of done before is the Chika's board game. That I've seen that in an anime before. That exact scene. It's a scene called, I think, Gamers. Basically, it's about a video game club. They just want to play video games for fun, but that's just like the basic premise. It's really this complicated rom-com where everything is a misunderstanding, and it's really frustrating. You want to bang your head on the wall because of how stupid these people are. Anyway, I highly recommend. It's not bad. It has a lot of good moments.
Huh.
The scene they did, they played the game of Life. You've heard of Life, right?
Briefly, a little bit.
The board game Life. I get apparently it's a thing in Japan as well. It's a similar concept where you start off as a single player, but as you roll, you can marry other players, you can have a family, you get jobs, and you basically go through life as you cross this board.
Right.
So the things that happen to Kaguya's group happen to the gamers group as well. One person who likes another. Okay, so one girl ends up like Kaguya, where she just has all this money, but no love life, and then there's two people who aren't in a relationship but end up married in the board game, similar to Miyuki and Chika, and they have a bunch of kids too, and this drives the money girl crazy, or the successful girl crazy, because she's in love with the guy.
Right.
So it's so similar. I was just like,
wow.
What? Why is this so?
Wow.
Who copyrighted? Who infringed on copyright? Like, come on. Maybe this is just a typical thing. I don't know.
Yeah, man. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Didn't know about that. Huh.
So I don't know who came first, but either way, I think the Kaguya-sama one is good because, it's a board game made by Chika and her group, and so that kind of makes it endearing in that sense. And also, Kaguya's reaction are a little different to the other girl in that anime, in that she, I don't know, just her reactions are just slightly different. How she actually gives money.
Yes.
Or pretends to give money, which is hilarious.
That was so funny.
And
she's just so sad and just holds out like 100,000 yen, like
right. Just take it. I hope you're happy. but it's also her facial reactions are just so intense, and it's sad. It's kind of sad to see. You know, it's obviously a game, but she's taking it really hard.
She really, and Miyuki also isn't like. I mean, Kaguya is taking it the hardest, but Miyuki definitely also struggles with like differentiating the game from reality in a like to a degree. I feel because he constantly is sitting there like while he's married to Chika and they're getting all these kids. His face is just like, please get me out of here, kind of like I don't want to do this. This is or like this is embarrassing or something.
Right. And she's and then Chika's like, I'm a teen mom.
Yes, I was just gonna say that. So
She's
funny.
holding her belly like she's pregnant or something like that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I love how she's just so immersed in the game and just
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
she's having so much fun with it.
And that's exactly why this chapter stands out from that other anime I mentioned before. Is it's Chika and Kaguya kind of make the game a little more interesting and they're just different.
Yeah,
So
for
thank
sure.
you.
Yes. Oh yeah, when they were reminiscing over like the past things in the student council time, Chika brings up this ball with an eye and legs and a bunch of flags.
Yeah, what the freak?
Like what? What? Like remember this?
I have no idea what it's for.
That was odd. That's one of those like random Chika moments that I just it's just so funny. It reminded me of the time when she had this photo of her lying in the grass.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
like the chickens. Like it's just so
Yeah.
random. It's just so funny. I wish we could have seen that chapter.
Well, it seems like Kaguya remembers it for some reason.
Yeah.
So whatever it is, it's between those two.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever see it. I honestly I was kind of hoping we would eventually, but maybe it's just too chaotic and random for it to ever come back. I don't know.
Right. And it is funny to not know, I think, as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Even though I am very curious. Oh my.
So going back to the Kaguya and Ishigami chapter, so as I was reading it, I was thinking to myself, why does this seem so familiar? I feel like I've seen this, or was this in season 1? And it was. I just watched the episode today, as I go through my watch through of the anime.
Oh yeah.
So they changed the events a little bit.
That's right.
They basically do this around the same time that Miyuki and Kaguya are competing for the test scores. It's also when Ishigami is taking their study lessons from Kaguya.
Oh yeah. Oh, and that makes sense to have actually. I think that was good on the anime's part to put that there, because then they all got their scores at the same time. So I think yeah I forgot about that. Yeah, that's actually interesting.
I agree, it makes sense. It kind of takes the reasoning behind her helping and changes it, because before it was for her, or if it was Ishigami helping her in the fan battle.
Yeah.
But in the anime, it's just because, well, she's being kind, but also Ishigami being held back or failing would be a burden to Miyuki.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. I was thinking about that when I read this volume, or when I read that chapter now, and I was like, wait, am I just thought I misremembered the chapter for some reason, but I was thinking about the anime. That's right. Yeah. But I think it still works in both.
I agreed. I was trying to think which one I like better. I think I agree with you that where it's put in the anime, it fits better chronologically speaking. But the reasons, I think both are good reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. There's pros and cons to each.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for clearing that up though, because I was a little bit confused. Like I started doubting my own memory for a moment.
Yeah. It's like, wait a minute.
It's like, where did I get that from? But yeah, cool. Yeah. So, and the last thing I have here on comedy, which is also a little bit of a sad, sort of, the last chapter where they're at the restaurant, and Chika's like, well, if I become the student council
Oh
president,
yeah.
and everyone just laughs at her. Like, guys, come on.
So cold. I mean, granted, we get an excellent line from Chika, which is, "I'll punch you all in the face." It's
Yeah,
kind
and
of,
with that smile.
yeah. Good delivery, but
Yeah.
it's really cold of them.
Yeah, and it's just and, like, yet another one of those situations in this volume where Chika is just not treated right.
Mm,
Um,
I agree.
so I hope it gets better from here on out for her.
I do too.
Because I find myself caring more about her on this read through than I did on my first one, like so much more. So I just really I don't want her to be treated this way.
I feel the same way, and I was wondering if I was just overreacting. Like, maybe I read her character wrong, or I don't know. But
Nah.
I think I agree with you. I think
Uh,
they are not treating her as well as as probably they should.
right.
I mean, she's a good soul anyway. She's not gonna hold a grudge, I don't think.
Oh yeah, no, she wouldn't. She wouldn't. Or well, with you.
Well, with
she
with,
maybe,
with
maybe.
yeah, with Ishigami she will. Yeah, no
Yeah.
doubt. But probably not Miyuki and Kaguya.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know. A Kaguya Chika fight would not be great. Oh man, I don't know if I want to see that.
No, oh, that would break my heart. Actually, honestly, if that was like a legit, like them being on bad terms, like no.
I mean, I'm sure they would get back together eventually as friends, but I don't know. That'd be really rough to see.
Definitely. Oh boy. Yeah. I feel like we're maybe done with comedy.
Yeah, I think that was a
Yeah.
great way to end off. I love that line so much.
Yeah. So let's talk about the romance. Kaguya and Miyuki start complimenting each other in the first chapter.
Yeah.
It's like they're just attacking each other with compliments, and also like the dog and cats like explaining like how that which one's better, and like yeah, kind of romantic, I guess, sort of.
No, I think in their own way, it is because because they're so prideful, whatever. And I think Kajiwaki's interpretation of it all is
Oh yeah,
accurate. You know,
absolutely.
it's kind of a roundabout way of confessing their loves to each other without actually confessing anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, it's just random. Kaguya gets really emotional about this. She's practically crying as they're arguing about it. She's got tears in her eyes and
Oh
everything.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
was just like, wow. Getting
Yeah,
really
I guess she had an
about this one.
emotional day.
Yeah. My favorite romance part in this chapter was the moon one, where
Yes.
they're talking about the folktale of Kaguya, Princess Kaguya, and Miyuki goes into how he feels the main guy totally messed up in
Yeah.
that, or he failed the test, if you will. He would have taken the elixir and did everything he could to eventually be with her, and I think it would. Let me get to the line.
Like he would have never let go of Kaguya.
Yeah. That was a really big one, even though he didn't realize what he was saying.
Yeah. I think he was speaking his mind though.
Oh, he was totally speaking. I mean,
You know.
he was speaking his mind from his heart, but he didn't realize the potential implications of that. Just like when he went to save or find Kaguya in Volume 5, didn't
Yeah.
realize the potential cringe there. But
Yup.
um,
But I agree.
yeah.
That moment is so impactful and so poetic and just beautiful. And Kaguya celebrating Miyuki's birthday, we talked about it a little bit.
That was
really
good
nice.
too. Yeah.
And kind of funny also, like when she asks Miyuki to close his eyes, he thinks for a moment that she might like be undressing or something like that.
I was a little worried. It was like, oh, whoa. Like, there's no way they would do that. No way.
No, of course not. That would have been way out of left field.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, like it was very nice. She presented the little slice of cake and her fan, and the fan obviously. Very, very nice.
Yeah, and that was romantic, and we did touch on that. But it's also the side of her that is being honest with her, romantic feelings, her love for Miyuki, in that it, she's realizing that you want to make him happy. Just getting the opportunity to talk to him or seeing him smile is something
Mm,
that you really want, and I think that's romantic as well. But also good for her to understand more. That's those are things that she really wants. Like she wants those romantic moments.
right. Absolutely. And I think, when I was trying to seduce Miyuki,
Mm-hmm.
and Kaguya was observing that from a distance, I don't know. I mean, obviously there wasn't anything romantic really going on there, but I feel like maybe that just the fact that that happened and that Kaguya got to see that, maybe it helped her understand her own feelings better.
Hmm.
Kind of similarly to how Chika gave like the thought experiment in the previous volume, where imagine the guy you like with another girl.
Mm-hmm.
It's like kind of in that vein, because now she really got to kind of see that, and she was really nervous. She was really like, oh shit, is she actually gonna make him fall for her?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and ultimately she didn't, obviously, but I think that maybe that may have helped Kaguya kind of realize how much she really cares about Miyuki.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
And the last thing I have on romance, and it's probably the second best romantic part after the moon chapter, for me, is the very last chapter where Kaguya
Mm-hmm.
asks Miyuki to keep on being the president.
Yeah,
That was really sweet.
it was really sweet, and how she puts it where it's like the one selfish moment, like one time she gets to be selfish.
Yeah.
I do like that, but I also like the other side of it where, I mean, Miyuki plays it off as he played her or whatever, but
Yeah.
he wasn't going to do it. But then when he heard her say that, he in turn says it was his time for him to demonstrate courage and fortitude, and I like that. You know,
Mhm.
it's hard for me to explain. I guess it's poetic. It's also, you know, two halves of relationship in that sense. When someone relies on you, you put in the effort, the fortitude or whatever. I
Right.
don't know. I thought that gesture of his to be willing to do another year despite it being exhausted
Mm.
is, um, I guess, romantic, but I guess also sheds good light on his character.
Definitely. Yeah, because it's a sacrifice that he's making, but he does it so that he and Kaguya can keep on seeing each other as much as they have been.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So I mean, he isn't like it's not he isn't just doing it for Kaguya. He's obviously doing it for himself as well.
Yeah, that's
Because
true.
he's obviously he wants this just as much as she does.
Yeah.
It's just that like that chapter was very much from Kaguya's perspective. Um, for for the most part, like during the restaurant and at the end, before she said that she wanted him to be the president,
Right.
it was all like her thought processes and stuff like that.
Right. No, totally. At the very end, we get his on the last page his thought process, and he wasn't gonna
Hmm.
do it
Yeah.
um, until she said not. I don't think he wasn't waiting for that, although he played it off like he was. But I don't
Right.
think he was waiting for that. But once he heard that, you know, that selfish request, he decided to go with it.
Yeah.
So and maybe he wanted that. Maybe he did want to hear that. But I think also it was him being, I guess, a gentleman in that sense.
I mean,
But
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited for Volume 7.
Yeah, I really don't know how it's going to play out with the elections. Um, I, I mean, predictable would be he still gets it in the end, but I don't know. I can't confidently say that he would go with he being Akasaka would go with the predictable or the more happy route of him getting the presidency back.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah,
don't know.
I'm just very excited for you to to get to see all that, and for you to get to meet Miko Ino and all that good stuff. So has your favorite character changed after this volume? Is it still Kaguya, or is it someone else?
I think it's still Kaguya. Her growth is really really great, and I think she's such a sweet person. And Miyuki's awesome too. I think Miyuki's number 2. Chika's probably 3. It's hard. I like Chika and Ishigami.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say. But one character I really want to like more is Kashiwagi. I think her design is so good, and I like her character, but there's not enough of her, and we don't
True.
know a whole lot about her either, besides the fact that she's in a relationship with some guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever really get that, and I don't need it for this story. But if I want to put Kashiwagi higher up on my list, I do need more from her.
That's fair. Definitely.
But at this point, I can't.
Right. Yeah. She has potential, though. I guess we can say.
She has potential.
Yeah. I personally, I feel at this point in the story, I'm having a really hard time deciding like which one I like most.
Yeah, it's hard.
I was definitely with you on Kaguya after volume 5. But at this point, I feel like it might be pretty close between Kaguya and you for me.
Okay.
Um
I don't blame you.
So yeah, because I think like this volume we just got to see so many nice, like just really like modest moments from him, as well as some hints as to like what actually happened in his past. So obviously we don't know enough for like a full picture yet, but it's starting to get at something there, and I think that's really interesting with him. And like it's a sad thing, for him to feel, for him to, for others to distance themselves from him because of something he has done in the past, and also for him to distance himself from others because he doesn't want others to be viewed poorly because of associating with him. Like it's just, in a lot of ways, it's just really a sad situation, and we don't even know why yet. But he has grown a lot for me, I think, so far.
For sure.
And final question. Do you still root for Kaguya to be the one to be confessed to?
Yeah, I'm still Team Kaguya. Last volume, I could see more benefits of both sides, and I do still see the benefits. But with this volume, I see more appeal to having Miyuki do it because it's so hard on her mentally to reject how she was raised. And yeah, that would be nice for her to do that, and I will support her in doing that. I mean, supporting a fictional character here, but I think it would be a really good gesture and good for Kaguya if Miyuki were the one to do it first. And I don't really see a downside to it per se, unless her confessing to Miyuki changes the Shinomiya mindset somehow, but I don't know. Regardless, I still think that having Kaguya be confessed to is where I stand. So Team Kaguya.
All right. And I remain on Team Miyuki because I made up my mind knowing everything I knew, I guess, sort of, in the first volume.
Gotcha.
But also just in general, I think it would be a bigger character growth step for Kaguya to do it than it would be for Miyuki.
Yeah, I see that argument, but at the same time, I do think it would be a good character moment for Miyuki as well
Absolutely.
to confess. But I mean, having you be on Team Miyuki this whole time has maybe a little nervous about my own choice.
Hey.
But it's fine. It's fine.
I wouldn't say my choice here is a spoiler in any way, so you shouldn't need to worry.
Okay. That's nice.
So that said, I think that's it for the discussion of Volume 6.
Yeah, great volume, and there's a lot a lot teased here as well. So I'm excited to see some of
Mm.
those plot points expounded upon in the next few volumes. I hope so.
Yeah, totally. Like again, I cannot wait to read volume 7. I feel like the next 3 volumes that we got, basically the ones that we'll be reading in February if we keep doing a three a month. 7, 8, and 9 are gonna be pretty damn good. So yeah, super stoked. New character next volume.
On the cover.
She's on the cover. She was on the last page of this one. So yeah, that's pretty safe to say that. And again, like she's like one of my absolute favorites, if not my actual. Well, she is my favorite, but I don't know with which volume she will become that. I guess we'll get there eventually. But I love that. I love Miko, and
She's got tough competition. Just saying.
she she does.
I mean, she's got to get better. She's got to get better than Chika, and she's got to get better than Kaguya in my book. So
Yeah, I'm very excited to hear your take on her when, once you get to know her. So can't wait for that. And thank you for, to anyone who listened to this. You can find more of James outside of this channel on Intensity on YouTube, where he covers video game topics, mostly Nintendo, but also other stuff, video essays and kind of stuff like that. And you can find me on YouTube and SoundCloud as Leon Morris, where I share all of the music that I compose and produce. And we will see you guys next time for Volume 7. Bye-bye.
Whoa.
Whoa. Look at your fingers.
Whoa, man.